Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. Today's video is going to be my go-to makeup look. So I think for like 4 or 5 years now, like all my YouTube content that I watch has been makeup videos. So I think I'm pretty solid in the products and the techniques that I'm using right now. So I'm going to share with you guys how I go from this to this. So if you guys want to see how I accomplish this look and what products I use and maybe catch some tips and tricks along the way, keep on watching. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. Today's video is going to be my go-to makeup look. So I think for like 4 or 5 years now, like all my YouTube content that I watch has been makeup videos. So I think I'm pretty solid in the products and the techniques that I'm using right now. So I'm going to share with you guys how I go from this So next is foundation. I don't like to put a lot of foundation on my face. I find that it clogs my pores, gives me breakouts, doesn't last as long because it turns all crepey and starts to just not look great. And I prefer a glowy look. So I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. This is my tan shade. So it is... The sticker is gone. I think it's like the third or... Oh, it's right here. 205 Natural Beige. So give it a good shaker. Got your wet beauty sponge. I think this is just a... what's it called? I can't remember the brand. It's the one that's in like Target. I will never and have never paid for an actual beauty blender because I think that is just insane to pay $20 for a sponge. I'll just put a little bit of this everywhere. Start with less because you can always add more, but it's hard to take off. And then I'm just going to dab this in. See how glowy it makes me look? I just love that. I don't like looking matte. I want it to still look like skin. I need a little more for my forehead. Foundation's looking good. Here is my skin. All right, next step. I'm going to put the lid on this before I make a mess. I do cream contour next. I like to start with dark and then add the light because if you do the light and then dark, it's going to cover up the light like highlights that you do. So I use the LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer. I think it's literally like $5 at Ulta. It's so cheap, and I've had this for a long time. It's really lasted. This is in the color Toast. So I will put this where I would normally contour. And then when you contour, put it higher up because you're going to blend up. You don't want to drag it down because then it'll make your face look like wider and just muddier. So we want to create the illusion of a shadow. So I mean a good trick is to like make the fishy face, and where that line is, that bone, we're going to add, there we go, add this. Again, add less, you can always add more. And sometimes if I'm feeling frisky, put a little under the chin too. Yeah. I'll just start with that. Take my own advice and not add too much. Same sponge, blend out. Whatever I have left over, sometimes I'll just sprinkle it on my nose, but I'll hit that with powder contour later. So yeah, it's not super drastic. I mean, it just adds a little va-va-voom to the face, and we're gonna do powder, like bronzer over it anyway, but just to give a little zhuzh underneath. Next is concealer. I am lucky and I don't have a lot of darkness under my eyes yet. I say yet because one day there will be a time where I don't get as much consistent sleep as I do. But I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer in the shade 120. I like this. I think it holds up well. It looks good. So I don't use a whole lot. You don't want your under eye to be super heavy and crepey and like full of products because it just tends to not hold up well. So I just put a little bit. A little on the chin, little on the forehead. And then using the same sponge, but the back of it that doesn't have those darker colors on it, just gonna blend it out. And a good trick, if you find that your concealer isn't as high coverage as you need, let it sit there for like 30 seconds, a minute, get kind of dry and tacky and start to set, and then blend it out. And it'll cover more, I promise. Okay, so our creams on our face are pretty much done. Before I powder anything, I will do my brow gel because I like to brush them all up before I put color in them and fill them in. So I refuse to pay like 20 bucks or more for brow gel when you can literally just buy this. This is the Got to Be Glued Styling Spiking Glue in 4. And I just get these little spoolies from Amazon. They come in a pack of like 100. But I will just take, well, I'll brush my brow hairs up first actually, so that they're all somewhat where I want them to be. And then I will just take the littlest bloop, just a little bloop. And I will set all my brow hairs in place. It's okay if there's some more sparse areas. We are going to fill it in after this dries. But it gives you that laminated look without actually having to laminate your brows. So, see the difference? And it's kind of shiny right now, but when it dries, it's not shiny. You can't even see it. Just get a little more for the other brow. Brows are glued down. I'm gonna let that dry before I put any color in them. And now it's time to powder our face. So to set my under eye, I'm gonna use a pressed powder, but first I'm gonna make sure there's no creases. And I use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in shade 1 Fair. And I'm gonna use a Morphe M536 brush. It's kind of tapered and well, it's full of cat hair, but it's pretty dense and tapered. So I will just pick up, oh, I just hit pan. This is expensive. I'm gonna be sad when this is gone. But I will just pick up a little powder and I will press it in where I put concealer. I'll also push it in around the sides of my nose, as that's where I tend to have my makeup break apart a little bit. I'll push a little into my eyelids because I put some excess concealer there. Cat's trying to get into my eyeshadow. I'll put it on the chin, forehead. Okay, so looking kind of matte, but don't worry. We'll bring the glow back. All the concealer is set. Next, I'm going to go in with bronzer. If I'm going somewhere where I need my makeup to last all day, I will use a loose powder and I'll set and bake everything, but I find that my skin tends to lean dry when I wear makeup, and at least at the beginning, and I don't like how it looks. So I will avoid that if it's just kind of an everyday situation. I'm not going to be out in the sun a lot. I'm not going to be sweating. I won't use a loose powder. So next I'm going to bronze, and I'm going to use the Jaclyn Blush and Bronzing Duo. This is in Warm Flush and Golden Goddess. Look at how gross that looks. It's so pretty when you first get it, and then as soon as you touch it, your nasty fingerprints are all over it. But this is what it looks like. I love it. I'm going to use a BH Cosmetics 110 brush. It's nice and angled. And I'm just going to dip into the bronzer shade. And I do tend to bring my bronzer onto my cheeks a little bit, just because I feel like when the sun hits you and you get color, it does happen on your cheeks too. But I'm just putting this everywhere that we put the cream bronzer beforehand. And because we didn't set our face completely, I will pat it first so I'm not dragging the cream underneath. And then once it's set with that, I will blend it in a little bit more. But you want to be very light-handed so you're not disrupting, you know, your base products underneath and moving that foundation around. Now I'm going to take it on the chin too. Drag it down. Right up into the ear. This does have like a nice glow to it. It's not a matte bronzer. If you are oily and tend to need a matte bronzer, I don't really recommend this one. I don't know. It's up to you. I love Jaclyn's products, but that's just because I'm a diehard Jaclyn fan. So we are bronze. I always add more. I just love bronzer. I want to be bronze. Okay, I actually feel like I want a little bit of a darker bronze today just because I am tan. So I'm going to take the Anastasia bronzer in Rich Amber and very lightly just put that on the further back parts of my face. Almost act as a contour rather than a bronzer. Yeah, that made a difference. Okay. One step that I almost always forget and then punch myself because I forgot it is nose contour. If you're adding bronze to the outside of the face, you gotta bring it in, otherwise it just looks kind of funny. So I'm gonna go back in with the Jaclyn on this very random brush that I swear is from like Amazon 6 years ago, but it's just a thin little angled brush. And I will connect it up to my brow and just very lightly add some color to my nose. All right, after bronzer is blush. I'm going to use a Wet n Wild There's no number on it, but I think it's just their blush brush. It's literally from Walmart. I think it was like $2. You know how hard it is to film with 2 cats running around being like, what are you doing? This is not what you normally do. We need to be involved. We need to touch everything that you touch. Okay. I'm going to go in with the Jaclyn blush. Again, this is Warm Flush. Just gonna pick that up. I'm gonna smile and I'm gonna put it on the apples of my cheeks and back. If you want to be more angular with your makeup, I would concentrate it more back here. But I love the rosy, like blushing, sunburnt kind of look. So I do bring it to my apples of my cheeks. And I'll just drag any excess over my nose because you would sunburn there too. Any extra will go on my chin because that would get color, a little on the forehead. Yeah, it's cute. Rosy. A warm flush. So before I move on to eyes, I will do some setting spray just to start melting the powders down on my face. This is the Morphe Luminous Setting Spray. You can just get this at Ulta or whatever. It's got a nice sprayer. It smells pretty good too, so. Just a light veil of that for now. I will put more on afterwards, but I just want to get these powders start to melt. So now that our face is basically done, minus highlighter, I do that last, we're going to move on to eyes. And my go-to eye look is very simple. I probably use like 2 or 3 eyeshadows. I don't do a winged liner. I keep it really basic. So a palette that I've been loving lately for just some great neutrals is the Transition palette by Dominique Cosmetics. This is a little bit more pricey, but it's because she's an indie brand and, you know, she funds everything herself. And it is just a palette full of matte shades. I very rarely put shimmer on my lids just because I feel like I don't have a lot of lid space. I do tend to have a hooded eyelid where my top lid hangs over onto the, well, whatever the space, I got some skin hanging down, okay? So I have a ton of space up here for shadow, but not a lot on my lid, and it does tend to transfer, so I really just stick to matte shades when I'm doing a basic look. So we already put concealer on, you know, when we were doing this, we put the extra, we set it with our face powder. Don't want it to be too caked up because then your shadows won't blend very well. So I'm going to start. This is a Morphe M513 cult classic blending brush. Just fluffy and big and dirty. And I'm going to go in with the shades Caramel and Toffee. I'm going to mix them. And I'm just going to tap off the excess. And this is going to be our first blending shade. So let me get a little closer so you can see. Okay. So I am just going to very lightly, because these are pretty pigmented, just start sweeping this back and forth over the whole eyelid. If it gets down your eyelid, that's cool too. This can be a little messy. It's our first shade. Windshield wiper motions, little circles, back and forth. And I'm barely pressing down. Like that, I am just touching the skin. I am not pushing. I'm just sweeping. Okay, so I'm gonna do the other eye. So once you have the color and the blend that you want, I'm gonna move on to the next shade. And I'm gonna grab a different brush. Let's see. This is a Morphe one, but it doesn't have a number because it came with a pack. It's a little longer, but still pretty fluffy. And I'm going to take the shade Hazelnut down in this corner. It's like a warm brown. Tap off the extra, can always add more. And I'm gonna do a similar thing, but I'm gonna keep this lower and more towards the outside. So I don't want this going everywhere. I'm just gonna keep it low and outside, at least at first, and then I will blend it in and up. Don't these blend so beautifully? It's like effortless. I love this palette. It's very worth $48, I think. So next I am going to do the last shadow color, and it's going to be a dark brown. I think I'm going to go in with coffee beans over here. It's pretty neutral, just like the darkest of the three. This is a Morphe X Jeffree Star JS6, and it's flat, pretty flat, and it's round, and it's super easy to just get in that outer corner with it. So I'm going to take a little bit of coffee beans, very little amount. This is dark. You don't want to do too much. And I'm going to keep it literally just on my outer corner. Like, I don't want to go in much further than that. And I will blend it into the crease a little bit. I'll make it all happy and blended. I'm almost creating like a winged effect with it. I am pulling it out a little up towards the tail of my brow. Just keeping it out here. I'll smudge it down into my lashes. Just trying to get that smoky outer look. See the difference? That's a huge difference. So I'm gonna do it on the other eye. I'll try to make it so you can see. Cool. And then I will go back in, you know, with my original brushes and just make sure everything's clean, blended together, no harsh lines. Yeah, so that's it for the top lid. Looks pretty good. Might go back in with this dark color just to make sure it's nice and defined. Okay, and then for the lower lash line, again with a Morphe brush that came with a bundle. It doesn't have a number. It's just a small little blending brush. I'm going to take Caramel and Toffee again, and I'm going to run it under my lower lash line and connect it to the top. If you can do this without making a weird face, I applaud you, because I cannot. I can try, but it doesn't feel natural. And then using that same brush, I will go in with Coffee Beans, the darkest color. Just grab a little bit, and you're gonna only keep this on the very outer corner closest to your lash line. And that's just gonna connect it up with what you did on the top. Just adds a little definition. It'll also hide any mascara that smudges. So yeah, that's it for eyeshadow. Very simple, 3 or 4 colors. And it just adds a little definition to the eyes. So now I'm gonna move on to brows. They are glued down and dry. I'm gonna take the Anastasia Dip Brow in Auburn and my little brow brush. This is a JS7. If you have any recommendations for a eyebrow brush that's like nice and angled and not Jeffree Star, let me know, because I'm not about that life anymore. But this stuff is pigmented. You do not need a lot. I just bought a new one of these, and I had the old one for, I kid you not, probably 3 years, and I could have kept it, but it was getting dry, so I needed to get a new one. So it's a good investment. But yeah, literally just pick up the littlest amount, and I'm just going to fill in sparse areas of my brow. I don't want to cover up the laminated look. I don't want them to look too blocky, but I will just add a little definition. So yeah, that's literally all I'm gonna do to that brow. I like the hair look. I like it to look like I have brow hairs. I don't wanna make it look like a Sharpie brow. There, that's it. Brows are done. Okay, moving on to highlight. I'm going to be using the Jaclyn mini highlighter in Iced. Super cute. I find that I don't go through highlighters super fast, so I just got the mini one from her. I wanted to try it, and it looks really pretty on. So again, I'm gonna just spray my face, give it something to stick to. I'm gonna take a JS4. This is just a fluffy brush. I'm gonna swirl it around in here, tap off the extra. And I go in hard with highlighter, okay? I want to glow. And I don't just put it back here. I put it on the apples of my cheeks too. So I'll start with it back here. Look at that. That's so pretty. And I will put it on my apples too. Oh my God. Oh my. Oh, wow. So pretty. Ugh. If you haven't tried the Jaclyn highlighters yet, you are missing out. I'll drag it up here a little bit. I'm just gonna put it everywhere. I want Elon Musk on Mars to see my highlight. Put some on the chin, just a little. Put it on the Cupid's bow. Put it on the nose. Snatched. And then I'll put a little above my brows as well. So we put it kind of everywhere. Yes. And then with that same highlighter and an itty bitty little Morphe brush that doesn't have a number, it's super tiny, I will take that highlighter. And this makes a huge difference. If you do no eyeshadow, at least highlight under your brow bone and your inner corner. It makes, I'll show you, I'm gonna do half, or I'll do one eye and show you the difference. But I will put that right under the arch of my brow. And in that inner corner. Do you see how it lifts my brow? Gives a little shine. I see the difference. Sometimes I go overboard with this stuff. I remember one time someone was like, you put a lot of white stuff under your eyebrow today. And I was like, I have been clocked. They got me. No such thing as too much highlighter though. No such thing. Okay. All that is left is lashes and lips. I am not going to wear false lashes today. I think if you have a good mascara and you curl them enough, you don't need them every day. And it's healthier for your real lashes anyway. So I'm just going to curl my lashes. I'm cleaning off my lash curler. You don't want extra, gunk on there. It will transfer onto your lashes when you use them. And to curl my lashes, you know how you curl your hair? You would use a curling iron with heat. Well, bitch, I heat up my lash curler. Test it to make sure it's not going to burn your eyelid. And then give her a good curl. Little girls are standing up. You see the difference? If you're not heating up your lash curler, you're doing something wrong. Okay, so for mascara, I'm going to use the Essence Lash Princess. This is the volume mascara. This is incredible. If you haven't tried this, it's like $5 at Ulta. They have waterproof, they have lengthening, they have like a whole line of Lash Princess mascaras. I was actually put onto this by Bailey Sarian. If you haven't checked out Bailey Sarian on YouTube, she's amazing. She does Murder, Mystery, and Makeup Mondays, and she will do her makeup but talk about a true crime story at the same time. And that's like my two loves smashed together. Like the only podcasts I listen to are true crime. I love serial killer documentaries. So the fact that she's sitting there like doing beautiful makeup while also telling you like a really good story, like sign me up. And they're long videos too. I love long videos. Like I want to sit there and watch her for forever. So she's got a lot out. Go binge her if you haven't watched her yet. I'll link her channel down in the description. But okay, so I'm just gonna do my mascara. That is just one coat on the top. You can't tell me that those don't look amazing. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do another coat and the other eye. Okay, mascara's on. I got a little on my face. So a good trick is to just take a spoolie, make sure it's dry, the mascara on your face, and you can just flick it right off. Look, can't even tell. One other tip I will give you, if you do the heated lash curler thing and you find that your lashes still don't stay curled after you put mascara on, try waterproof mascara. I know it's a pain to get off, but girl, curled lashes are worth it. Like it's a thicker consistency and it dries up and makes your lashes really stay. So yeah, try that if you still can't get your lashes to stay curled. All right, last step is lips. We are almost done. So I'm going to use a Jaclyn lip liner. This is in Coffee Cake. It is just a brown lip liner. And I'm going to line my lips. I overline maybe just a little. I like the size of my lips. I don't think they need to be much bigger. If anything, the natural lines of my lips on my bottom lip even, I feel like are a little too out here. So if anything, I do bring them in, but I'm just gonna line my lips. That is the prettiest color. Okay, lips are lined. I've got 3 Jaclyn liquid lipsticks to pick from. 2 I have used before, 1 I have not. I've got Absolutely, I'm a Cancer, and Empowered. Empowered is definitely the lightest one, and I'll probably use that in the center of my lips. But I think I'm going to try I'm a Cancer. That's the one I haven't tried yet, and I know it's one of Jaclyn's like absolute favorites from her line. So she wouldn't steer me wrong. Would you, Jaclyn? All right, I'm gonna put on my lip liner, or my lipstick. Okay. Yeah, I get why she loves this color. It looks really good with that lip liner too. And then before that dries, I am gonna go in with Empowered, just in the center to do like a contour on my lips. And I'll just put a little bit. Yeah, those are the lips. We'll let those dry down. So last, I'm gonna end off with some more setting spray. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Jumbo Setting Spray. This is my favorite. I swear this is what makes my makeup last all day. So I will just give myself a good dousing of that. And I think that's the final look. Hey, editing Kristen here. Totally forgot to record an outro. But anyway, here's the final look. Hope you guys love it. Hope you learned something. I will link all the products I used below. Please subscribe, like this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya!